Okay, so are you ready to dive into some pretty shocking claims about the music industry?
Always.
There's this memoir, Making Waves, online, and well, it's got some pretty explosive allegations about Diddy,
Mm.
about how he might be connected to the deaths of some major hip hop figures. I mean, have you heard about this?
Yeah, the buzz is hard to miss.
Right.
It's really caught everyone's attention.
Yeah.
And I think that's because these claims are coming from a very specific source.
Right.
This podcast called Real Talk with Lady T and Mr. Terrific,
Yeah.
where Diddy's ex-wife
Oh, wow.
lays out some very serious accusations.
Yeah, this isn't just like some vague internet rumor mill. You know what I mean? This
Right.
is like
Direct
direct.
and detailed
Yeah.
account.
Yeah. And she's claiming that Diddy was involved in the deaths of Tupac, Biggie, and Aaliyah,
Mm.
framing them as sacrifices that he had to make on his climb to power and fame.
Yeah, it's interesting because when we think back on the 90s, right,
Yeah.
the rivalry between the East Coast and West Coast rap
Oh,
scenes
absolutely.
was so intense.
It was huge.
It was more than just music.
For sure.
It was about identity, territory, and of course, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And this memoir is suggesting
Mm-hmm.
that this rivalry might have been manipulated
Mm.
by powerful figures for their own gain.
Wow. And the fact that she's saying she witnessed some of this firsthand
Right?
just adds fuel to the fire. I mean, if what she's saying is true, it really makes you wonder how much we really know about what goes on behind the scenes in the music industry.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And the music industry,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the world of hip-hop, has always been about more than just the music, right?
Right.
It's about image. It's about branding. It's about building an empire.
Yeah.
And Diddy was a master at that.
He was.
But if these claims are true,
Mm-hmm.
it suggests that his empire building might have a very dark side.
A very dark side.
Yeah.
And it gets even wilder because she doesn't stop with the East Coast. She pulls in names from the West Coast, too, like alleging connections to Will Smith
Wow.
and even Quincy Jones's daughter, Kadada Jones.
Hmm.
It's almost like she's painting this picture of this intricate web
Right.
of alliances and rivalries that spans like the entire music industry.
Right. It really makes you think about the potential motivations here.
Yeah.
Was this all about eliminating the competition,
Mm.
solidifying power,
Yeah.
or was there something else at play?
Yeah. It definitely raises some serious questions about
Mm-hmm.
the extent of control
Yeah.
and manipulation that might be happening at the highest levels of the music industry.
Right.
If even a fraction of what she's alleging is true,
Mm-hmm.
it paints a pretty disturbing picture.
What's striking to me is the level of detail she provides. She's outlining specific events,
Mm.
alleged motivations,
Mm.
and even like the supposed roles of other major players.
Wow.
This isn't just idle gossip.
Right.
This is a carefully constructed narrative that's aimed at exposing what she perceives as the truth behind
Mm-hmm.
this carefully crafted image of the music industry.
And to be clear, we're not saying that everything in this memoir is definitely true,
Right.
but even the possibility that some of it might be accurate is enough to make you stop and reconsider everything you thought you knew about the music industry
Oh, absolutely.
and the artists involved.
It makes you wonder, what if the rivalries we were all so captivated by,
Mm-hmm.
the beats that fueled so many headlines and album sales,
Yeah.
were actually orchestrated by someone like Diddy?
Wow.
It challenges our whole understanding of how the music industry works
It does.
and raises questions about who is truly in control.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And, it's not just about the artists in the industry. It's
Yeah.
about the fans.
Yeah.
Imagine being a fan back then,
Mm-hmm.
completely caught up in this East Coast-West Coast rivalry.
Totally.
And now,
Yeah.
years later, to find out it might have all been orchestrated.
It's crazy.
It makes
though.
you question everything.
It really does. And what's particularly disturbing is how she connects Diddy to Aaliyah's death.
Mm-hmm.
The other deaths were often seen as part of this larger rivalry,
Right.
but Aaliyah's passing was always seen as this tragic accident.
Exactly.
Right.
To think that someone might have orchestrated that
That's awful.
just adds a whole other layer of heartbreak to an already devastating event.
Absolutely. It really makes you think about the emotional impact of these allegations.
Mm.
It's not just about the artists themselves. It's about the fans who loved their music, who were inspired by them, who felt a connection to them.
For sure.
To have that trust potentially shattered,
Yeah.
it's a huge blow.
It's almost like a betrayal, right?
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just Diddy.
Yeah.
She calls out a whole network of individuals
Mhm.
who she claims knew about these events but chose to stay silent.
Wow.
It's like a code of silence,
Yeah.
protecting the powerful and keeping the truth hidden.
If that's true, it really raises questions about the ethics of the entire industry.
For sure.
You know, if these people knew and did nothing, it suggests a systemic problem where power and influence are used to suppress information and silence those who speak out.
And this isn't just limited to the music industry.
Right.
We see similar patterns in Hollywood fashion art, really.
Yeah.
Wherever you have fame, fortune, and influence, there's the potential for exploitation and abuse.
It's true.
It's a sobering reminder that we can't just blindly accept the narratives that we're presented with.
Yeah, it's like that saying, if you want to keep a secret, you must also hide it from yourself.
Right.
Maybe we as fans have been hiding some of these truths from ourselves because it's easier than facing the possibility that the industry we love might be built on a foundation of darkness.
That's a really profound thought.
Yeah.
And it brings us back to the importance of this memoir. Even if parts of it aren't entirely verifiable,
Right.
it sparks a conversation about transparency and accountability.
Yeah.
It urges us to be more critical consumers of the music and media we consume.
It's a call to action, really. We need to demand better from the industry and hold those in power responsible for their actions. And it starts with each of us.
Right. The power ultimately lies with the consumers,
Yeah,
with us.
with us.
By demanding transparency and accountability, by supporting artists who align with our values, and by speaking out against injustice, we can help create a more equitable and ethical creative landscape.
It's a daunting task, but it's one that's worth taking on.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, the music we love should be a source of joy and inspiration, not pain and disillusionment.
Exactly. And this is where it all comes back to you, the listener.
Right.
What do you take away from these claims?
Yeah.
Does it change how you see the music industry, the artists involved, or even the music itself?
It's a lot to process, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're dealing with incredibly serious accusations here,
For sure.
but we also have to be cautious about accepting everything at face value.
It's a delicate balance, you know? We need to approach these claims with a healthy dose of skepticism, while also acknowledging that there could be truth to them.
Right.
And even if some of the specifics turn out to be inaccurate,
Yeah.
the broader themes that this memoir raises are incredibly important.
So what does it all mean then? I think it's a wake-up call for all of us.
Yeah.
It reminds us that the music industry, just like any other industry, is not immune to corruption and manipulation.
It also highlights the importance of critical thinking. Don't just accept everything you hear,
Right.
even if it comes from a seemingly credible source.
Right.
Do your own research.
Yeah.
Consider multiple perspectives and form your own conclusions.
And if you're feeling fired up about this,
Right.
if this makes you want to dig deeper, then absolutely do it.
Yeah.
Research the names that were mentioned, look into the history of the music industry, and see what you find. You might be surprised at what you uncover.
This deep dive has taken us through some pretty dark territory. But I think it ultimately leaves us with a sense of empowerment.
I agree.
It reminds us that we as consumers have a voice
Yes.
and a responsibility to demand better from the industries we support.
So keep listening, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.
And on that note, we'll leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Okay.
If these claims hold even a grain of truth, what does that say about the price of fame and the sacrifices made in pursuit of it?
Wow.
It's something to think about as you navigate the complex and often contradictory world of music and entertainment